In this video, I want to talk to you about why muscle spasms might not be such a bad thing, and actually my 4 top tips for how you can remove yours. So let's go. Thanks for checking out the channel. My name's John. If you're new here, it's great to have you on board. Here at this channel, what we want to do is 3 simple things. We want to help you to understand your body so you can get rid of any pain or problems and weaknesses, ultimately to hit your sport, exercise and wellness goals. Does this sound something like you would enjoy? Then why not hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, because we'll keep you updated on any content that we have. But anyway, let's dive into muscle spasms. And firstly, why they might not be such a bad thing. Well, the reason for this is because they're designed to serve a purpose. And that purpose comes about because of the communication that the muscle receives from the brain. So effectively, when we get a muscle spasm, it's because your brain has perceived there to be some damage or a threat to that muscle. So if we've gone to, for example, pick something up and we've damaged a muscle in our back, our brain gets this message and it wants you to stop using that muscle. So what it does is send a message back to that muscle to be permanently contracted and go into this spasm. So the reason I say that muscle spasms might not be a bad thing is because they're there to serve a purpose, and that's to act as our body's defense mechanism to prevent any threats or danger to those muscles. But all that being said, they're very painful, very annoying, can be very limiting in the amount of movement that we can do. So what I wanted to do was talk through my 4 favorite tips in order to get rid of muscle spasms. My first tip is all around the use of temperature devices. So what do I mean by this? Well, I want to talk hot and cold because I think they both have a part to play. So in terms of when we might use heat, after a muscle spasm, I think heat can be really nice to soothe and start to create a good blood supply to the area and also to allow us to help with the further tips that I'm about to discuss. Now, a quick caveat to that is if you've initially done an injury, so I mentioned the example about reaching forward to grab something and feeling your back going to spasm, that might not be a time to use heat because we might already have a large inflammatory response happening. But after about 24 to 48 hours, using some gentle heat can be very helpful to start the recovery program that we're going to talk about with the forthcoming tips. Once you've finished those recovery programs, ice can be something that can be very helpful, mainly because it's a nice natural painkiller, so it can be soothing for any pain, but it will also prevent any excessive inflammation that might be occurring at the area. Tip number 2 is around stretching. Now, what we want to be doing here is the muscle is in a permanently contracted state, or semi-permanently contracted state, I should say. But what we might be looking to do here is just start to remind the muscle, remind the body that the muscle can be stretched, to almost communicate a message to the brain to say it's okay now for the muscle to start returning to its lengthening and shortening response. But it must be done gently. Remember, this is all about a communication message between the problematic muscle and the brain. So if we dive straight into an aggressive stretch thinking that's going to help our symptoms, our brain is going to perceive that as a threat or potential danger to the muscle. And not only is it going to leave it in its spasm state, but it might even exaggerate that state. So instead, what we want to be doing is doing some gentle stretches. So for example, if my neck had gone into spasm and my shoulder was elevated and I had pain running up into my head, what I could look to do is slowly start to stretch that muscle. I don't want to be doing some aggressive stretching. I want to just be slowly taking that muscle to the point where I feel those fibers engage. Or again, if I'm feeling my lower back to be sore, I might slowly start to stretch that muscle off to the side. At a point where you feel those fibers start to come under tension, just stay at that point. Hold that stretch for 30 seconds to a minute and then repeat that stretch again. All this is slowly communicating to your brain that it's okay for that muscle to be lengthened, and it will relax the amount of tightness around that muscle that it's in. My third tip is around trigger point therapy. So what we want to be doing here is we want to be finding almost the epicenter of the spasm and telling that muscle that it's okay for it to be relaxed, or desensitizing that muscle. So again, if we revert back to the neck and my neck being in spasm here, what I might look to do is I might look to feel around and find those sore areas. And if I can find a sore area, a particularly sore area, I can just hold and apply some pressure onto that area. And by holding this for about 30 seconds to a minute, what I might start to do is desensitize that area. I stop the blood supply to the area, and then by releasing it, then flushes through. But all this is communicating that the muscle can start to calm down and come out of that relaxed state. And this might be where some of the devices that you have, so you know one of my favorite tools is something like a lacrosse ball or a massage stick or even a rolling pin, anything that you might have. If you have a massage gun, all these things are designed to be relaxing and desensitizing that muscle tissue. So they will all come in handy, but remember, they should be used gently. If we dive in with a massage gun, have it on its lowest setting. If you're using something like a lacrosse ball and you've got your back in spasm and you're lying onto that ball, make sure that you're doing it lightly. We want to be communicating that it's a soft approach to easing this muscle out of spasm. And my fourth and final tip is to try to do some exercise. Remember that muscles want to be contracting and relaxing. Gone are the days where we damage a muscle fiber and we simply say, go and rest and lay in bed, because that's only going to leave it in that permanently contracted state. What we want to be doing is communicating that it's okay for it to start to move again. We're aware there's some damage, we're treating it for that damage, but we want to encourage the movements that we can again. Remember, you'll be used to it now. It should be gentle. So not diving into running around or lifting heavy weights, but simply taking the muscle through range. So if I could do all of this from seated, if it was my neck, I could slowly start to take the head into these moving positions where I'm contracting and relaxing, but you can see it's slow, it's gentle. If it's my lower back, I can just look to move to the side or even rotate to the side. But as soon as I hit pain, I know that that's something I don't want to push through. Rather, I want to find the amount of movement that I can get away with before I hit pain, and then that threshold will then increase over a period of time. So I hope that was helpful. A reminder that we should be using hot and cold, heat first, cold at the end. My second tip was around stretching, gently stretching the muscle fibers for 30 seconds to a minute. Third tip was around trigger point therapy. So this may be using your hands or devices such as lacrosse balls or massage guns or foam rollers or massage sticks. And finally, to do the exercise gently that you can do in order to help you come out of spasm. Has that been helpful for you? If it has, do me a favor, hit that like button, because that shows me that this is the type of content that you want to be seeing, and it may help others who are currently suffering with muscle spasms get these tips to help them be pain-free. So do your good deed for the day and hit that like button. And if you think this is helpful content and you want to see more from us, check out the channel, but most importantly, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, because we'll keep you updated. And here's another video that you might find valuable.